Hello, glowing goddess, and welcome to my channel. Do you want to wear pink eyeshadow but have no idea how to because you're worried about it being too dramatic? Sweet, because today I'm going to create this easy pink eyeshadow look using the 143 palette from ColourPop. By the way, I'm Donna with Beauty University, and I'm a professional makeup artist that's here to share practical techniques for women new to makeup. When I first saw this palette, I knew I had to get it because I love pink. That glitter is amazing, and it's gonna be great for travel because it's so small. So I'm gonna swatch this palette for you, create this look, and tell you which blushes and lipsticks I recommend pairing with these shades of pink. After this video, you're gonna know amazing tips to help with your blending and placement. If you already own this palette and you don't need to see the swatches, you can jump straight to the look. And if you're here just for advice on the pairings, jump right here. I'm gonna swatch the colors in the order that they are shown here. So we're gonna start with Awe, which I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish this color first because look at this beautiful, shiny, metallic pink. That's beautiful. And it's super saturated through the whole entire way. And it's really hard to find a metallic pink that's this color with just the right amount of iridescent, especially for my skin tone. So I'm obsessed with that one. Next up, we have QT, which honestly, I'm a little surprised with. I thought this was gonna be a lot more chalkier than it's coming out. So what I mean by chalky is it would have more of a white cast to it. It wouldn't look as pink as it does here. This is a true baby pink. It's almost a little salmon, and it's got beautiful saturation throughout the whole way, which, like I said, I was surprised. I expected it to be a little patchy and not be so pigmented in pink. So already it's a good deal. Next up, we have My Boo, which is a pressed glitter, which, like I mentioned, is part of the reason why I wanted this palette, because it is a very light, glittery pink. This is gonna be able to go on top of purples, blues, you can see there's even a shift of green, and it's gonna just add a little something, something. In fact, I think we should put this on our cheeks. What do you think? Yeah, let's add a little bit right here. Oh yeah, there's a whole party going on my face. Whenever you add glitter, it's a party, guys. I love putting the pressed glitters on my cheeks on top of my highlighter. If you are also a glittery babe, please go ahead and do this and join in on all of this fun. Okay, next in the palette we have, I don't know if it's Loam or it's L-O-M-L. I don't know if that stands for something. Maybe you guys will know and I'm just too old to not be down with the lingo. But if you know what L-O-M-L is supposed to be, can you please let me know in the comments? Anyways, this pink is neon. That's what the color you're seeing on my eye. And here we go. You can see there's a lot of glitter in this. Well, I think you might be able to see there's a lot of glitter. However, it almost goes on like a matte. It's a little bit more dry than the other colors, which mattes usually are. And I'm just adding another bit of pigment on top of it to really stretch it out. There you go, that's nice. And then finally, the last color in here is Love, which Love is also a metallic. And I will be honest, when I got this, I was surprised that this wasn't much darker than LOML, because in the palette, it looks like it's gonna be a lot darker, but as you can see on my hand, there's not much of a difference. And you're gonna see later in the tutorial, they're really, really similar to each other. The major difference between the two of these, if you can tell, this has a little bit more blue in it than this does. And because it has a little bit more blue, it goes a little bit more on the purple side. So just a little bit of color theory knowledge for you. A little bit more blue, where this has almost a bit more red and white, which is why it has a little bit of that salmon color, similar to also QT. What I love about this palette is the fact that there's 5 colors and there's all different textures. So this is a metallic. This is a metallic. This is a sparkly color, so we'll just say it's sparkly. It can't be matte, even though it has almost a matte base. This is definitely matte, and clearly this is shimmer. A long time ago, brands really had troubles coming out with palettes that had different textures. Usually you would get a palette, it would all be matte, or it would all be shimmer, and when you have all one texture in a palette, you don't get a lot of definition within your eye makeup. So I'm a fan that now we're starting to see a bunch of different textures in one palette. I will say, if you don't have this palette and you're thinking, is it worth it? It is only $10. And ColourPop has a sale every other day, so for $10, that's a steal. These are really nicely pigmented, better than some of the other ColourPop palettes I have. And as you can see, especially through some of these colors where the saturation is consistent throughout, that's how you know a shadow is good. If you swatch a shadow and let's say it's just like this, well, that's actually a good swatch. Let me try to make a bad swatch for you. Let's just say it's like that, where it's like it starts off big and then it doesn't have the same consistency throughout, or it looks patchy, the quality of the eyeshadow isn't as good. So play around with your palettes, see what you think, and start seeing if you can tell which colors or which palettes are better consistency than others. If you're liking this video so far, click the like button and let me know in the comments. This is a monochromatic palette, and if you're new to makeup, monochromatic color schemes are the easiest to work with and the easiest to blend. Monochromatic means different hues of the same color. So here you see lighter pinks and darker pinks, but they're all a part of the same family, so they blend into each other without really trying. Now let's glow on and create this look. I want to use all the colors, and I want it to be easy. And I know you might be thinking, 5 colors and easy? Yes, friend, watch on. The technique I'm going to do is really great for anyone with deep set, hooded, downturned, or monolid eyes. It's going to give your eyes definition and an immediate lift. Pay attention to my placement and blending because that's what's going to make the difference. Don't worry, I'm gonna go slow and we're gonna do a step-by-step together, so there's gonna be no time lapses here, which is why this video will probably be long. And as you can tell already, I'm a talker. I already primed my eye with concealer, so I'm going straight in with QT to give my eye depth. I don't care what eye shape you have, it's always helpful to take a light to medium color, also known as a transition color, and put it in your crease. Make sure that this color is matte because we're contouring the eye. And with contouring, we want to pull back, aka give it some depth. By the way, I absolutely expect you to do your makeup along with me. And if you have a question, just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. You don't need this palette for this look. You just need colors from light to dark. My shtick here is to teach you techniques and colors are subjective. So to go in to contour the eye, I'm using Crown Brush SS027. You want to have a very fluffy brush for this placement because you want a diffuse look with the color. So like I mentioned, I'm going in with QT. I'm loading up my brush with product. I'm going to dab the excess onto a tissue because I don't want that fallout all over my face. And then I'm going to look straight in the mirror with my eyes open, and I'm going to start from the outer corner going up towards the center. And I'm going right into my crease. So the crease is right here underneath your brow bone. And the reason I want my eyes open and looking down is because I want to be sure that I'm going to see this color. Now I'm going from the outer corner, not the very, very bottom, kind of just a little bit of a hair up, going up from that outer corner over towards the center. Now, if you can see here, I have a little skipping. So if that happens to you, I want you to take the brush, wipe it off on a paper towel. So I have that right here. I'm just wiping it clean. And then I'm gonna go right over this again, but going from the inner corner up towards the center. And I just wanna basically smooth this out. But the reason I don't wanna go all the way down and back and forth like a windshield wiper is because I don't wanna pull my eye down. I wanna keep lifting up my eye here. So going back from the outer corner up towards the center, and then if I have to go from the inner corner up towards the center to meet. This is gonna allow me to contour the eye area and give it a wash. So as you can see, even if you're in a rush, you can just do this and be like, oh, well, I'm good. Here's mascara. And it gives a little bit of something to the eye without taking too much time. And that's something that you're gonna see me talk about throughout this whole look and all tutorials that I do in the future. I'm going to encourage you to pay attention to how things look without it being complete. Because if you don't have a lot of time, just do a little bit of work. Okay, I'm gonna go in and do the other side. Same thing, starting on the outer corner and blending up. Now I have my tissue right here below me and I'm basically going into the shadow and dabbing it onto the tissue even though you don't see it. I just want you to know that I constantly do that. That is something that no matter when I'm doing my makeup, always have a tissue to dab off excess color. I'm a big fan of using tissues or paper towels, whatever you've got. And you'll notice it might look like I'm going back and forth because I'm going so fast, but I go from the outer corner to the center, lift my brush, go back to the outer corner towards the center. And I just do this very quickly, so that's why it looks like I'm going back and forth. And this, like I mentioned earlier, is to just create that contouring behind the eye to give it a little bit of depth, give your eye depth. And look at that, we're contouring the eye. You contour the face, you contour the eye. So I don't care what eye shape you have, you do this and you're immediately going to have some definition. Next up, I'm taking a flat eyeshadow brush. This is Crown C537. It's a very small eyeshadow brush, very similar to the MAC 239. And I want a very small brush because I'm only going to work on the third of the inner corner of my eye, and I'm gonna be using Awe from this palette. Now, if you've got bigger eyes, you can use a bigger flat brush. But if you've got deep set eyes like me, I want you to get used to using small brushes because it's gonna help you have more control over your makeup. So with this color, I'm taking Awe and I'm going right into the very inner corner right here. And I'm just pressing it into that spot. I'm not bringing it past my crease. I'm bringing it basically from the inner corner a third way over up to my crease, so right below the socket. You can see we're just going right there. Now, if you love an inner corner highlight like I do, I encourage you to bring that over and just bring it a little bit down, because that way we can brighten up that whole inner eye and get our glow on. I'm also going to take this color and pop it underneath my eyebrow to give it that brow highlight. Fun fact, it is also the highlight that you see on my cheek here. I use it there as well. So definitely utilize your products to do multiple things for you. You know, by having the highlight here, it really ties in nicely to the color underneath my brow and has it tell a whole story. Okay, gonna head and put the Awe also on this part of the inner corner. And if your eye begins creasing like mine is right here, just take your tissue, or I'm sorry, take your finger and just dab that crease out. As you put the shadows on top of it, it's going to cover that up and you won't have any creasing anymore. So like I said, right in about a third of the eye, and you're gonna take it up to the crease, but not past the crease. And again, right into that inner corner. Using the same crown brush that I used for Awe, the C537, I'm going to take Loam and I'm going to load up my brush on one side so it's fully saturated. Gonna dab the excess onto the tissue so I don't get that fallout. And then when you go and put it on your eye, I want you to hold the brush upside down, looking down, and I want you to stamp the brush right in the center. And you're gonna press along your eye. So once you got that stamped down, you're gonna bring it all the way up, a little bit higher than Awe, into the crease and slightly above the crease. So that way when your eyes are open, you can see this. And that is bright. I am liking this a lot. I'm just gonna dab this out to make it a little bit thicker so it fills up the whole middle. Just gonna do another layer. And then once you got this on, I want you to take another brush, a pencil brush preferably. I have here the C321. This is a bullet pencil brush from Creme, and it's clean. It has no product on it. So you need a clean brush for this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this middle color over into our lighter color. So we're really creating that gradient effect. And we're having one color blend into the other so you won't see where one starts and the other ends. And then you can go a little bit further and take that lighter color and just shake it on over into the brighter pink too. And there you have it. You can see it's starting to blend out a little bit more. The pink is a little bit higher. And don't worry that we still have a harsh line right here because we're gonna add our third color and take care of that. I just want you to focus on getting this part down. I'm just taking a little bit more of the shadow remainder that's on my brush and just dabbing it here. So I have a little bit more of a clean transition. So again, same thing on the other side. You're going to mark it, bring it all the way up to the crease, go a little bit past the crease. So when your eyes open, you can see where that color is. Fill up the third of your eye. And notice that I am pressing this whole time. I do think that pressing is best because it gives you the best payoff of the color. Not that we really need to worry about the payoff of this because this is really intense. This is really nice. And then I'm going in with that clean bullet brush and I'm smudging it on over to the lighter side. And you can go back and forth a little bit here. Zhuzh it, give it a little shimmy. Perfect. I have a mirror right here, so if you see me looking straight, I'm looking at another mirror just because I can see more of my face. It's a little bit different than this. Just so you know, when you have a small mirror, your eyes turn inward and you can't see the full thing. So have a mirror close by too that you can take a step back and make sure that all the symmetry is in place. Okay, I think I can stop there. Now I'm gonna go with my final color, or well, kinda, because we're gonna do glitter too. I'm gonna do Love, which is only a little bit darker than Loam as we decided earlier. And the brush I'm going to use for that is, I think I'm gonna use the same flat brush, the same C537. So you guys can see I'm only really working with this brush so far. It's all the colors. And because I'm going from light to dark, it doesn't matter that there's still some residue. But you can still take a tissue and clean off any of that excess. Go in and pick up Love, dab that excess onto the paper towel. And now when you're applying this, we're going to apply from the outer corner, going up towards the tail of our brow. And we're gonna go a little bit higher than where we've just put Loam or LOML. I really gotta figure out what that color is really called. Okay, so we're gonna place it here. Same thing, I want you to go at an angle and first worry about getting the product down. So I'm stretching this out. I'm going at a 45-degree angle up towards the tail of my brow. And if you notice, I'm kind of stretching my eye, looking down and stretching it. And that's gonna allow me to have a smooth surface. So I'm pulling this up at a 45-degree angle. And you can see I have a little bit of gap here, and that's okay because I can turn my brush to the side and stretch it on over to connect. This is what I was thinking, that these two colors were going to be so similar that they're just going to blend really nicely into each other, and they do. You really can't see the difference between the two. They're very, very, very similar. So once I have this in, you can see this is, I don't love this shape. It's still a little too harsh. I'm going to go in with the brush that I used for my transition color in the beginning. This is the SS027. So I'm not going to go back in with Cutie, but this is what I use the Cutie for. There's very little color on this brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this edge to just soften it up and blend it all in. And now we just have these washes of pink over the eyelid. Now notice never did I bring it down. I really want this area to stay open because I want it to lift up my eye. And I'm gonna do some stuff in the bottom in a moment that's gonna help lift up the eye even more. So there we go, we got that here, perfect. I'm gonna go in and finish up the other side. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am noticing that as I'm putting this on, the color is a little splotchy. It's not giving me the smoothest of transitions. I don't know if you can see this, but it's like chunking up and balling up there. So I'm going to wipe this brush pretty clean. And I'm going to, you know what? I'm actually going to use my finger because your fingers produce natural oils. And I'm just going to help blend that out with my finger as opposed to my brush. There we go. Perfect. Actually, that did a really nice job. So what I meant by it being splotchy is that it was just separating and it wasn't smooth transition across the whole way. It had that chunk right there and it was really aggravating me. So I didn't want to cut it out. I want you guys to see, so that way if you're doing this at home and you have an accident, you know how to fix it. Because I don't care how long someone's been doing makeup, there's always accidents that are going to happen. And so on top of teaching you techniques, I also want to show you how you can fix those. That way you feel confident when you're doing makeup and you'll be able to know exactly what to do when you make mistakes. Because I blended that out with my finger, you can see there's a little bit more intensity of pink on this side than this side. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Loam right here to add some of that intensity of the pink back into the eye. Perfect. There we go. All right, so now I want to do some stuff underneath the eye because I have bangs and there's a lot of space here. I have really full cheeks. I want to add some definition underneath here, so it just helps balance everything out. It's really dark up here, so I feel like I need to have some darkness there. But I'm not really going to go in with darkness. I'm going to go in with 2 eyeliner pencils. So the first one I'm going to use is Amethyst Hour from ColourPop, and the second one is Exit. So they're both from ColourPop. They're their cream gel eyeliners, which I do like, but you have to be careful because sometimes they can break in transit. So if you roll up and it falls out, just email them so they send you a new one. I'm going to use my brush to hold down my eye, and I'm doing this because I don't want to ruin my makeup. So I'm going in with Amethyst Hour first, and I could use this by itself. But I want to lighten it up. I like this as the base and then the white on top of it because it looks like a baby pink in my eye. And that's what I'm going for. A little bit of a baby pink, and then we're going to put some color underneath the lashes to define even more. So now I'm going to go in with Exit, and I'm just going to layer this right on top. There we go. Some of it did get on my lashes, so I'm just taking my finger to get rid of it. Go ahead and do this side. Once you've got the eyeliner on, you can take any kind of smudging brush or really thin brush. You can take either one of these. I think I'm going to use this guy. This is a Crown SS028. It's a smudging brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of loam, load it on the very tip of the brush, and then I'm going to keep my eyes open, make a pretty wide face, and I'm going to go from the outer corner over towards the center. So I'm essentially using this color as a liner right now, and I'm still dabbing off onto my tissue. And I want you to just press underneath the eye. That's going to give you the most definition and the most pigment, just like we did on the eyelid. Pressing it instead of blending it over. So I'm pressing and smudging. And you can connect it to the outer corner too, because this will help lift up that entire eye area. Perfect. I can't believe I forgot to even talk about putting glitter on the eye. Half of the reason I wanted this palette was because of that glitter, and I was about to go and do mascara without adding it. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna take my finger, and I'm going to use my ring finger because it's a little smaller than my pointer and my middle finger. Get a bit of the glitter right onto my fingertip, because I find with pressed glitters, fingers are gonna be your best applicator, and I'm just gonna go right into the center. Because I am doing this look and it's pretty blended, I'm not gonna worry about the glitter transferring over into the crease. That's fine. I want this, oh, that's a party on my eye. Anyways, as I was saying, I don't care if it transfers over into the crease because I want this to be a very blended look. I just want the inner corner to be brighter and the outer corner to be a little bit darker. All right, let me go ahead and do the other eye. So come a little closer. Take a look at my eyes. Do you notice how the shadow gets higher and lifts up my eye? And you can see the different colors, but they're blending so well into each other that you can't see where one starts and the other ends. This is called a gradient technique. And this is also why monochromatic is a great way to practice blending. It's forgiving and it's easy. All right, now let's zhuzh this up a little bit more. I know you're thinking, girl, you just did your eyeliner and why didn't you show me? Don't worry, those videos are coming, but we still have so much to talk about and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So you're just gonna have to keep coming back. So make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so you get all the notifications every time I drop a new video. As promised, I want to talk about blush and lipstick options. When I worked retail, not only clients would ask this, but also my employees. How do you know what lipstick and blush to pair with the different eyeshadow looks? So most of the time when I review palettes and do looks, I'm going to tell you what to pair with it so I can help you out. When it comes to blush for these eye colors, pink is of course going to be my go-to to continue the monochromatic vibe. I'm wearing a mix of Genuine and Compassionate from the Real Her Cosmetics palette. This is a blush palette that I got from them that has a bunch of colors, but I'm using these too. But if you're like, Donna, I've got enough pink on my cheeks, what else? Well, you can do peach because when in doubt, peach it out. But make sure it doesn't have too much red in it unless you have a darker skin tone. Then a burnt orange or dark red would be perfect to match with these eyeshadows. So if you have a darker skin tone, shades like this, and even something that's gonna be like this is going to be really nice on your skin because it's gonna warm it up nicely and it will complement the pinks. And if you're fair like me, like I said, you can use any of the pinks, but even if you wanted to, you can go with something a little bit more plummy too. Anything in that family is gonna complement you. Now with lips, well, ma'am, what's your mood? Because you can wear black lipstick, navy blue, hot pink, purples, plums, light pinks. You're gonna have a lot of options with this eyeshadow palette. With these shades of pink being they're on the cooler side, go with lip colors that have more of a blue undertone in them than red. Reds would call for a bigger contrast and more drama. For me personally, I normally go with a really dark purple or black, but decided on this more purpley gray color to keep it a little bit softer and not too over the top, which I understand that some people would also look at this lip color and be like, whoa, that is not for me. But I do like these cool tones. What I'm trying to tell you is that depending on what you're going for, it's gonna help you pick out your lipsticks. If you're gonna go with more of the lighter pinks and keep a really, like let's say this was more of a washa color, not as neon, you can go in with something dark, like a raspberry color that looks like this. This is Sequel from Melt Cosmetics. You can also go in with a really dark purple. This is Poser, also from Melt Cosmetics. You're gonna see I have a problem with Melt lipsticks. This is a lot darker. This is what I was originally thinking, but then opted for this one, which is called Janice. Now, this has a lot of red in it too, but you see because of that blue undertone, it's making it a little more purpley pink, so that'll be a nice, that would be a nice complement for this eye look. You can also go in with something really fun in lavender, especially if you wanna play it up for spring, like this. So let's say you were using this palette and you decided to go in with just these on your eyelid and you wanted to do a pink smoky eye, go in with something like that purple. Or if you want to keep it really soft and natural on the lips, this is Dreamsicle from ColourPop, and this is also a good bet. As you can see, this is really light. This can go with the look that I have on today. It can go with if you do more of the smokier colors with this palette, and this is just really close to your lip color, so it's a good color to have in general. What I'm trying to get across to you guys is I want you to try all the different lip colors because it depends on your mood. I might take this off and put on the dark purple. And finally, when it comes to picking out your outfits, with pink, blue and purple are always a safe bet. You're probably gonna see me in black or shades of black most of the time because that's a makeup artist MO. And I like it because my hair is colorful, my makeup is usually colorful, so I keep my clothes a little bit more muted. But you know me, I'm a firm believer of wearing and do whatever makes you feel hot. So do you, babe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you learned some new tips and tricks and know what to pair with pink makeup. This 143 palette is definitely one to play with, and for $10, it can't be beat. For more makeup education and tips on how to elevate your artistry, please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell so you always get notified, and I'll see you next week.